Books to kill for, a series to die for.
A cold wind blew across the tiny churchyard. As the coffin was lowered into the soggy earth, doleful chimes from the ancient church tower sounded tenuously across the valley. Belinda shuddered involuntarily at the sight of a worm, slowly threading through the freshly dug soil. She glanced back to the churchyard, where the gravediggers were completing their cheerless task. Shaded by the protection of the tombs encircling the church was a dark figure. From her vantage point, beneath the shadowy trees, the woman in black muttered a profanity. The thud of earth shoveled onto the wooden coffin only added to her exasperation, as the gravediggers committed Jane Victoria Lawrence's body to eternity. She watched the vicar as he hurried towards the church. Another figure emerged from behind the building. It was a man, a well-built, athletic man. She turned and hurried away in the opposite direction. The man moved from his place of concealment and crossed the churchyard. Hesitating, he saw the shadowy figure disappearing into the murky darkness. So she'd got wind of the mystery as well? If she proved too inquisitive, she might have to be removed from the scene, capable of murder. A Belinda Lawrence mystery.
Sir Gerald crossed the road near the park. He glanced up at his house and saw a light in the top room where his computer was stored. There was someone in his house. Belinda switched off the lamp. The front door was slowly opening. A dark figure slipped ghost-like into the hall. By the meager streetlight, Belinda could just discern the white hair and slim figure of Sir Gerald. He swung the door to, and the imperceptible click of the lock told Belinda that she was trapped. Her eyes wide open to catch every available sliver of light, she saw Sir Gerald's dark, shadowy figure move gently towards the living room door. The faint, ruddy glow of the fire tinged his profile. Which room would afford her the most security? None would. She was trapped. The embroidered corpse. A Belinda Lawrence mystery.
The camera assistant identified the take with the clapperboard. Standby wardrobe removed the kimono from Haley's shoulders, and the actress began her voluptuous dance. Using a bouquet of flowers as tease, she ran it lightly and suggestively over her body. In a futile and false attempt at covering her nakedness, Haley flung the bouquet of flowers at the Duke, gave her raucous laugh, and fell back into the Duke's embrace. While they were thus engaged, Clarissa, in her role as the Duchess, moved forward and, as was required in the scene, surreptitiously tipped the contents of a small bottle into the goblet. Bloody ham. A Belinda Lawrence mystery.
She rambles on, said the nurse. You mustn't be fussed with some of the things she says. If she talks at all. Like what? Said Belinda. Oh, the usual thing patients come out with. If they think they're going to die. Confessions. Asking for family members who are dead and buried. Sins committed, you name it. Belinda noted there was a fresh vase of flowers. Had Tommy brought them? Suddenly her hand was grasped in a vice-like grip. She turned to see Miss Mowbray staring at her with piercing eyes. Awful sins, whispered Miss Mowbray. Belinda gave her hand a reassuring squeeze. You've nothing to be sorry for. It was murder, you know, said Miss Mowbray. I covered it up. A Canterbury crime. A Belinda Lawrence mystery. Hazel peered at it over the rim of her glass. I may be wrong, but it looks suspiciously like part of a ceremonial mace. You mean like the mace they use in Parliament? Yes. It's a symbol of royal authority. Belinda fingered the crown again and looked at the other metal pieces. So these parts make up the rod that supports the crown. And what was Brad doing with it hidden away? It must have meant something to him, said Hazel. It may be worth a lot of money. Belinda frowned. And why did he hide it in the other apartment? You say the police had his sealed off? Belinda nodded as she placed the crown back on the table. Yes. I thought that odd too. Why seal it? A crime scene? Maybe, but he was found in the river. But who's to say he was killed there? A wicked design. A Belinda Lawrence mystery.
The roar of the teeming rain was loudest in the attic bedroom of Miss Massey. Sleep was a distant memory as she lay there, her mind filled with suspicion and uncertainty, and the origins could be traced back to the discovery of the skeleton, the presence of police in the house, and to her mind, the ambiguity surrounding the house guests. Suddenly she sat upright, eyes wide with fright. The cry of a baby. The cry of a baby in distress. Slowly she rose from the bed, clutched her robe about her, and felt her way to the door. She descended to the main landing. The cry of the child increased a little in volume. Miss Massey sensed it came from the garden. On releasing the lock, the door was flung inward by the violence of the howling wind. Water flooded into the doorway. The police tape surrounding the little grave had broken free. Desperate to be away from this place of death, Miss Massey shaded her eyes from the rain, searching the inky darkness before her. The face! She gave a cry, a loud crunch. Then, nothing. The blackness was complete. Murder on the island. A Belinda Lawrence mystery.
The tiny theatre was fitted out with some of the more comfortable seats from a long-gone cinema, and on one wall a screen with non-functional side curtains. Opposite, the small windows of the projection room revealed a glimpse of an old projector. Off to the side, a small kitchen promised chilled drinks and Muriel's sponge cake. The lights dimmed, and a beam of light flooded the screen. Violent technicolor dazzled their eyes, and Grable was revealed prancing across the screen. The brash, over-orchestrated music deafened them, so they hardly heard the door open. It wasn't until Jake staggered in front of the screen, the diffused technicolor streaming across his body, his raised hand attempting to block out the projector light, that the audience became aware of him. It also became aware of the blood flowing from his hand and down his body. Max is dead. Murdered! Illusion of death. A Belinda Lawrence mystery.
Belinda shivered in the sudden transition from the sun's cheery warmth to a chill, dark, and melancholy landscape. Amidst this dark passage, a dilapidated for sale signboard leaned at a crazy angle. The freshly posted "Sold," proclaiming that Crime Cottage was to be revived and present a new face to the world. The local villagers had hinted that crime was haunted. Some claimed a murder had taken place there in the 18th century. Others that a woman and her disfigured daughter had lived there and were witches. They'd held seances and called up the devil before disappearing one stormy night. Others told of a mysterious woman in black who always arrived by carriage, her carriage rumbling through the silent night, disturbing the sleep and dreams of the village, causing sleepy mutterings of prayer that sought protection from the nocturnal riot. Calamity at Crime Cottage. A Belinda Lawrence mystery.
Books to kill for. A series to die for.